Act as if nothing is impossible. Let that idea sink into the very core of your being. What would change within you if you truly believe that no limitation could bind you, no barrier could hold you back, no circumstance had the power to deny your desire? The world you experience is but the reflection of your inner assumptions. And to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to clothe yourself in the reality of the thing desired before the world shows even a trace of it. Imagination is not idle. It is the divine creative power within you, the one true source of all manifestations. When you act as if nothing is impossible, you give permission to your imagination to shape your outer world according to your inner convictions. You are not waiting for evidence. You are providing the evidence through your consciousness. The outer world bends to the inner vision. It always has, it always will. Do not wait for proof. That which waits for proof denies the power that brings all things to pass. You must dare to live in the end. Assume that what you desire is already yours. Walk through the world not in hope but in certainty, not in longing but in fulfillment. When you speak, speak from the place where your wish has already come true. When you move, move as one who already possesses what others still seek. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. The world will respond to you not as you are, but as you assume yourself to be. It does not matter what you presently see or hear. The facts do not matter. The only thing that matters is your inner state. The question is not, is it possible, but am I assuming it now? All things are possible to the one who lives in the consciousness of already having. There is no effort in this. It is not a strain. It is a silent inner knowing that what you have accepted as true will externalize. When you act as if nothing is impossible, you are not pretending. You are choosing. You are stepping into the version of yourself that already exists within the limitless field of possibility. Every version of you already exists. The version that is loved, healthy, wealthy, successful. It is not a fantasy. It is real, waiting to be claimed by your assumption. The door opens when you enter the state. You must feel it. You must feel it real, not tomorrow, not when the world gives you a sign now. You are not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you. Creation is finished. All things are. Your job is to select, to dwell in the end, to think from it, to let go of the how and become one with the state desired. Is the secret that moves mountains and calms storms. You are not asking for a miracle. You are becoming the miracle by assuming it is already done. So rise, speak, move, think, breathe as though nothing is impossible. Because in the world of imagination, all things are already yours. You are the operant power. Your belief shapes your reality. Your assumption defines your experience. What you accept as true becomes your world. Your reality mirrors your inner assumptions. This is not just a poetic statement. It is the immutable law of consciousness. Whatever you hold to be true in your inner world, whatever you consistently accept without doubt, projects itself into your external experience. You are not observing the world as it is. You are seeing the world as you are. Every event, every encounter, every circumstance you experience is a reflection of the beliefs you carry within. To understand this is to hold the key to transformation. For if you can alter your assumption, you can alter your life. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. The state you occupy inwardly determines the condition you meet outwardly. If you believe the world is full of struggle, betrayal, and scarcity, then your world will reflect those assumptions back to you in countless forms. You will find people who deceive, opportunities that vanish, and doors that remain closed, but not because the world is inherently that way. It becomes that way for you because your consciousness has ordered it so. It is not personal, it is law. The subconscious mind receives your assumptions as commands. It does not judge. It does not argue. It accepts and expresses. If you say to yourself often enough, "No one understands me," or "I am always overlooked," your subconscious will accept this and faithfully reproduce it in your outer experience. You will meet people who misunderstand you. You will be passed over in conversations and opportunities. The world will comply. But if you change the inner dialogue, if you persist in the belief that I am always heard, I am valued and respected, and feel the truth of that even before it appears, your reality must shift to reflect your new assumption. The law works impersonally. It does not care what you assume. It simply makes it so. This is both a profound responsibility and an incredible gift. If you accept this truth, then you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You become the architect of your life. Nothing happens to you by chance. Everything that appears in your world has first lived within you as an idea, a belief, or a feeling. This is why self-awareness is the beginning of power. Until you become aware of what you are assuming, you will continue to relive the same patterns, not realizing that the source is not out there but within. There is no outer cause. There is no power outside of consciousness. Everything you experience is pushed out from the assumptions you hold. If you assume you are lucky, opportunities arise effortlessly. If you assume you are unworthy, you will face reject, ion, at every turn. The world does not create your state. It reflects it. Your job is not to manipulate conditions, people, or circumstances. Your only task is to change your assumption, to occupy a new state of being and let the outer world catch up. When you understand this, you realize that nothing is set in stone. No condition is final. Nothing has to remain the way it is. If your life today is filled with hardship, loneliness, or limitation, it is not a punishment. It is simply the harvest of prior assumptions. Change what you accept as true, and the harvest must change. The world is malleable, plastic to the touch of your belief. You need not fight with what is. You need only withdraw your attention from the undesirable and give your full inner focus to what you now choose to be true. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about conviction. It is about dwelling in the inner feeling that what you desire is already so. The assumption must be felt in the present tense. You must think from the state, not of it. If you assume wealth, do not say, "I will be wealthy someday." Instead, dwell in the state of already being wealthy. What would you feel? What would you do? How would you think? Carry that inner knowing through every moment of your day. Let it color your words, your tone, your posture. Let it become so real within that the outer world has no choice but to mirror it back to you. People often think they must first change the world to feel different within. They want to see the money in their account before they feel abundant. They want to be loved outwardly before they feel lovable. But this is a reversal of the law. The outer follows the inner. If you wait for the world to give you permission to change your assumption, you will wait forever. You must lead. You must assume the new identity regardless of what your senses report. The senses only reflect past assumptions. They are not the truth. The truth is what you now claim within yourself. There is tremendous power in this awareness. For once you know that your inner state creates your outer world, you stop blaming others. You stop waiting for luck, for timing, for permission. You realize that you are the cause. And with that realization, you reclaim your power. If something in your life displeases you, you no longer feel helpless. You no longer react. You revise. You go within and change the assumption. You choose again. And this choice is not made once, but daily, hourly, moment by moment. You persist in the new belief until it takes root. The world is a mirror, not a creator. It shows you who you are being. If you want to know your current assumptions, look around. Your relationships, finances, health, and circumstances are all echoes of your inner conversations. If you want to know what you truly believe, listen to what you say to yourself in silence. That is the seed, and from that seed your world blooms. If you change the root, the fruit must change. If you plant a new belief, the results must reflect it. This is not about positive thinking in the shallow sense. It is not about repeating affirmations without belief. It is about feeling the truth of your assumptions so deeply that the world cannot help but conform. You must saturate your mind with the conviction that what you want is already yours. You must claim it within. The law cannot be broken. What you feel to be true inwardly must appear outwardly in due season. Imagination is the creative power of reality. It is not a tool we use occasionally, nor is it some fanciful indulgence reserved for the dreamer or the artist. It is the essential mechanism by which all things are brought forth into the world. Everything that you see, touch, hear, and experience was once first imagined. The house you live in, the clothes you ear, the words you speak. Each originated in the unseen realm of thought and image before they appeared in tangible form. Nothing exists in the world that was not first held in consciousness. You are not given imagination by accident. It is not a passive element of your being. It is your divine creative faculty. When you imagine, you are creating. And what you persist in imagining with belief, with feeling, must eventually solidify and crystallize into form. You may not know how or when it will happen, but imagination never fails to produce according to the depth of your conviction. Does not matter if you call it vision, dreaming, visualizing, or inner seeing. When you engage your imagination with feeling and intention, you are planting seeds in the invisible soil of your subconscious, and that soil never returns void. There is no limit to what imagination can do because there is no limit to consciousness. All things already exist in the infinite field of possibility, and through imagination, you choose which version of reality you will experience. You do not force reality to conform. You select the version you desire by embodying it in imagination. Once assumed and felt to be real, it begins to move toward you. The outer world rearranges itself to reflect what you have accepted inwardly. Most people use their imagination unconsciously. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They rehearse arguments. They envision rejection, failure, and loss. And then, without realizing it, they bring these very things into their lives. They call it fate, misfortune, or bad luck. But the truth is that they have simply used imagination in reverse. Imagination is always working. The question is never if you're imagining, but what you're imagining, whether you are aware of it or not. You are constantly impressing ideas upon your subconscious mind through the images and assumptions you entertain about the day. To live consciously is to direct imagination intentionally. You become a deliberate creator rather than a victim of circumstance. You understand that imagining success, love, peace, health, or wealth is not merely daydreaming. It is a sacred act of creation. You are constructing the inner pattern from which the outer will be molded. If you persist in imagining a version of yourself who is fulfilled, confident, and secure, and you feel the reality of that vision deeply, then the world must reflect that version back to you. Key is not in the words, but in the feeling. It is not enough to merely say, "I am successful" or "I am loved." You must feel it as if it were true. Now the feeling is the secret. It is the emotional charge behind the image that gives it power. When you imagine with strong emotion, you impress the idea upon your subconscious mind, and once accepted, it will move all things necessary to bring about its fulfillment. People, events, and circumstances will be drawn to you seemingly by coincidence, but there is no such thing. It is the law working through the vehicle of imagination. Imagination is more real than the physical world because the physical world is born out of it. What you see with your eyes is the shadow of a deeper reality, one that exists within you. The senses only report what has already taken form. They cannot show you the cause. The cause is always found in consciousness. That is why living by the senses alone leads to limitation. If you only believe in what you can see, you are trapped in a loop of repetition. But when you believe in what you can imagine, you open yourself to infinite possibilities. You do not need evidence before you can begin. Imagination does not depend on current facts. It is free. It is the one faculty you can use without cost, without permission, and without limit. If you are living in lack, you can. Imagine abundance. If you feel unwell, you can imagine wholeness. If you feel unloved, you can imagine being cherished. You can lift yourself out of any state by assuming its opposite in imagination. And if you persist in that assumption long enough, the outer world must reflect it. For the world cannot help but mirror back the contents of consciousness. The creative act is simple. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Occupy the state mentally and emotionally. Live from it, not toward it. Think from the place where your desire is already realized. Ask yourself how you would feel, how you would speak, how you would walk. If your desire were now true, let that imagined self become more real to you than your present circumstances. Let it guide your thoughts, your reactions, your inner dialogue. As you remain loyal to this inner image, the outer world will yield to its shape. Imagination is not pretending, it is selecting. You are not faking something when you act as if it is already true. You are claiming it. You are saying yes to a reality that exists, even if it is not yet visible. There is nothing dishonest in this. You are not lying to yourself. You are telling the deeper truth. That imagination precedes manifestation. What you see with your inner eye is as real, if not more so, than what you see with your outer one. The world of appearances is always a step behind the world of imagination. When you begin to trust your imagination more than your current circumstances, you take back your power. You no longer seek permission from the world to believe in your dream. You no longer wait for conditions to improve before you feel better. You become the cause. You become the author. You write the script of your life not based on what is, but based on what you choose to accept as true. And imagination is the pen you use. It is not difficult to use imagination consciously. T requires only consistency and belief. Begin each day with a clear vision of the life you desire. Close your eyes and see it. Feel it. Live it inwardly. And throughout the day, return to that state. When doubt arises, return to the image. When the world shows you the opposite, return to the feeling. Persist and do not waver. The world must yield. It has no choice, because it is not the creator. It is the creation. Imagination is the seed of all experience. When you treat it as sacred, when you understand its power and use it deliberately, you step into a different kind of life. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop hoping and start knowing. You stop waiting and begin embodying. The moment you realize that imagination is reality, you are free. You no longer need to fight the world. You simply go within. Assume the new state and allow reality to reflect your inner world. Live from the end, not toward it. This is the secret that transforms the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the experienced. It means you no longer place your desire in the future, hoping one day it will arrive. Instead, you mentally and emotionally occupy the state where your desire is already fulfilled. You become it. You think from it. You feel it now in this very moment as though it were the only reality. This shift in awareness changes everything, because you're no longer longing, reaching, or waiting. You are being, and being is the foundation of manifestation. Being is the creator of manifestation. When you live from the end, you are not concerned with how your desire will come to pass. You do not calculate the steps or analyze the path. You rest in the conviction that it is already done. From this state of certainty, the world begins to organize itself around your assumption. People you've never met, events you couldn't have planned, circumstances beyond your understanding begin to move. Why? Because your assumption creates a new point of attraction. You are no longer moving toward the goal. You're attracting to yourself everything that matches the state you have entered. Living from the end is not about pretending. It is not about hoping that something will change. It is about embodying the change. Now, if you desire to be loved, you must live as someone who is already loved. Not just in your mind, but in your emotional body, in your reactions, in your choices. You must feel the warmth, the connection, the joy of already having the relationship you desire. If you long for success, you must walk, speak, and think as one who is already successful. Feel the freedom, the accomplishment, the ease of that state even before it shows up in your bank account or in your career. Your outer world will follow your inner identity, not the other way around. You cannot live in the end while simultaneously keeping your attention on lack. If you are constantly checking for results, wondering when it will happen, or doubting your power, you have slipped back into living toward the end rather than from it. The moment you ask, where is it, you are no longer in the state of fulfillment. You are in the state of absence. And the law can only reflect what you are being. It cannot bring you what you do not claim internally. You must hold the inner tone of fulfillment so steadily that it becomes more real to you than anything your senses report. This requires a discipline of the imagination. It requires the willingness to turn away from the facts and remain loyal to the vision. Not just occasionally, but consistently. It means that when circumstances appear unchanged, you do not waver. You do not drop your assumption. You reaffirm it. You go deeper into the state. You feel it more fully. You saturate your awareness with the reality of the end fulfilled. And as you do, why? Are rewriting the script of your life. You are telling the universe what is real for you. And the universe must respond accordingly. You must also learn to identify yourself with the new state. It is not something outside of you that you're trying to reach. It is something within you that you are now choosing to embody. If you want to be healthy, you must assume the identity of one who is healthy. Not tomorrow, not when the symptoms disappear, but now. Feel the vitality in your body. Move as someone who is strong and whole. Let your imagination teach your body what it means to be well. As you persist in that assumption, your body begins to reorganize around you. You are not healing the body through effort. You are impressing upon the body a new pattern through consciousness. This applies to every area of life. If you want wealth, do not approach it as someone who lacks. Do not beg or bargain. Instead, imagine what it would feel like to have complete financial freedom. What does that feel like in your body? What choices would you make? What kind of thoughts would you entertain? When you catch yourself thinking from lack, gently return to the end. Imagine again, feel again. Anchor yourself in the new reality, and the old must fade. Living from the end requires faith, not in the religious sense, but in the creative power of your own consciousness. It requires that you believe more in your inner vision than in your current experience. You must trust that what you accept as true within will be shown without. You do not need evidence before you can feel. You feel first, and the evidence appears. This is the reversal of the old way of living, where feeling is dependent on external circumstances. In the new way, you generate the feeling and the world reflects it back to you. When you live from the end, your decisions also begin to change. You no longer act from desperation, fear, or scarcity. You act from fulfillment. You speak with clarity. You carry yourself differently. You are no longer trying to make things happen. You are allowing them to unfold. And this change in behavior is not forced. It arises naturally from your new identity. Because when you feel successful, you behave like someone who succeeds. When you feel loved, you move through the world with openness and warmth. Your external behavior becomes a mirror of your internal state, and that alignment brings harmony to every aspect of your life. Even your emotional reactions change. You no longer take things personally. You no longer feel triggered by appearances. Why? Because you know the end is already secure. You are no longer shaken by delays or contradictions. You do not need the outer world to affirm your state because you are rooted in it from within. You remain undisturbed. You persist. And this persistence is not struggle. It is calm, steady confidence. You have seen the end, and you live there. From the end also awakens gratitude, not for what is coming, but for what already is inwardly. Gratitude is the language of fulfillment. When you feel grateful for something you cannot yet see, you are declaring that it already exists in consciousness. That vibration of appreciation magnetizes the experience toward you. It opens doors, lifts your energy, and keeps you attuned to the reality you have chosen. This way of living may feel unfamiliar at first. It may feel unnatural to feel joy when there is no visible reason, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You begin to realize that joy, peace, abundance, and love are not the result of conditions. They are the cause of them. When you take your attention away from what is and place it upon what you choose, and when you do so consistently, you are training the mind to serve your vision rather than your high story. Every moment you dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are creating. Every second you refuse to be moved by appearances, you are aligning with the true source of power. You are not waiting for the world to give you permission. You are not hoping for some future moment to rescue you. You are claiming the moment now. You are stepping into the living from it, not just in imagination, but in vibration, in being. And in doing so, you are bending reality around your conviction. Every version of you already exists. The version that is fulfilled, loved, wealthy, peaceful, and powerful is not a fantasy. It is real, waiting for your recognition and selection. You are not trying to create something from nothing. You are not building your dreams from scratch. You are aligning yourself with a state that already is. Creation is finished. All possibilities exist now. They are not in the distant future, nor are they dependent on effort or worthiness. They are present in the infinite field of consciousness, and you move into them by assumption. The moment you accept that something is possible for you and feel its truth, you are stepping into that version of yourself. You are not bound to one identity. You are not fixed. You are fluid consciousness expressing through a particular pattern of thought and belief. But that pattern can change. And when it does, so does your world. If you currently see yourself as lacking, afraid, or limited, it is only because you have been identified with that version. It is not who you truly are. It is a mask you've worn, a script you rehearsed, a story you've told. And the beauty of imagination is that you can step into a new role at any moment. You are not sentenced to repeat the same version of yourself over and over, unless you choose to remain loyal to that version. Your identity is your choice. The self you embody is not permanent unless you make it so. Through your beliefs, feelings, and assumptions, you are continuously selecting which version of yourself to activate. There is a version of you who is confident, capable, and free. There is a version of you who no longer doubts, who no longer struggles, who no longer waits. That version exists in the eternal now, not far away, not on some distant timeline, but right here, accessible through the power of awareness. The question is not whether that version exists. The question is whether you are willing to let go of your current self-concept and embrace the new one. This is the essence of transformation. Not fixing, not healing, not repairing, but moving, shifting awareness from one state to another. When you stop identifying with your current limitations, they begin to dissolve. When you stop affirming the self you no longer wish to be, you make space for the new self to emerge. It is not about striving to become something. It is about accepting that you already are. The self you want to be is not waiting to be built, it is waiting to be claimed. When you say I am and attach to it the qualities of your desired self, you summon that version into experience. It is not enough to desire change. You must assume the identity of the one who already lives it. Desire alone creates longing, but assumption creates embodiment. The world responds not to your wishes, but to your state of being. And that state of being is determined by the version of yourself you have accepted as true. If you say, I'm always struggling, that version will remain dominant because you are feeding it with belief. But if you say, I am thriving, and persist in that new concept of self, the old version begins to fade. Not because you fought it, but because you turned your attention elsewhere. You are always moving through versions of yourself. Each thought, each feeling, each belief nudges you in to a different state. But when you become conscious of this process, you begin to direct it. You stop drifting and start choosing. You become deliberate about who you are being in each moment. You ask, what version of myself am I embodying right now? And does this version match the reality I want to experience? If the answer is no, then you do not wait for conditions to change. You change your identification immediately. You begin thinking from the new state, feeling from the new identity, reacting as that version would react. In your life is an echo of the version you've been being. Your relationships, your finances, your health, your opportunities. They are not accidents, they are reflections. If you want a new reflection, you must stand in front of the mirror as a new version. The mirror does not change first. You do. You smile first, and then the image smiles back. You step into abundance internally, and then life meets you there. You feel love within yourself, and then the world mirrors that love. This is not philosophy, it is a law. Consciousness is the only reality, and your identification with a particular state is what brings it into form. You have within you the entire spectrum of possibility. You can be timid or bold, fearful or free, lacking or abundant. And you may think you need to work hard or change your environment in order to access a new version of yourself. But the change is internal. It begins with an act of imagination. Close your eyes. Picture the version of yourself who already has everything you desire. See how they move. Hear how they speak. Feel their confidence, their ease, their clarity. That version is not a fantasy. It is you minus the doubt. It is the you that has always been waiting to be accepted. When you remain loyal to a new concept of self, the world must rearrange to reflect it. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will appear. Circumstances will shift. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed your frequency. You are no longer matching the old patterns. You are no longer reacting from the old self. And so the world no longer has a reason to give you the old story. It has no choice but to echo the new one. You cannot be both versions at once. You must choose. You cannot keep feeding the old beliefs and expect a new life to appear. You must die to the old self. You must let go of the familiar discomfort, the habits of limitation, the comfort of struggle. And yes, it may feel unfamiliar at first. It may feel strange to declare I'm successful when there is no proof. But remember, you are not waiting for the proof. You are creating it. You are becoming the cause. You are stepping into a new version, and that version will bring its own evidence. The mind may resist. It may whisper that's not who you are, but the mind is simply echoing your past. It is a recorder, not a creator. You must override it with the vision of the self you now claim. Do not argue with the old thoughts. Simply ignore them and replace them. Affirm the new version. Embody it. Dwell in it. And as you persist, the old self will lose its power. It cannot survive without your attention. Every time you choose the new version, you are voting for a new reality. Every time you say I am and follow it with power, love, wholeness, or abundance, you are activating a different frequency. And over time, that frequency becomes your dominant state. It becomes your identity. And once that shift occurs, you no longer need to affirm. It becomes natural. You simply are. And the world responds not because you forced it, but because you remembered who you really are. You are the operant power. This is the foundation of all manifestation, all transformation, all creation. Nothing moves unless you move it in consciousness. There is no force outside of you deciding what you may or may not have, what you can or cannot become. You do not need permission from the world to create. You are not subject to chance, fate, or external conditions. You are the cause, the center, the one directing the flow of experience. Until you accept this truth, you will continue to give your power away to people, to circumstances, to timing, to rules that were never real to begin with. But once you realize that it is your consciousness that shapes your reality, you no longer wait. You assume. Being the operant power means that nothing happens unless you allow it to happen through your attention and belief. What you focus on grows. What you accept as true becomes your experience. You are not a passive observer of life. You are its architect. Every reaction, every assumption, every dominant thought you entertain is creating the structure of your world. Whether or not you believe this law makes no difference. It is always in motion, always responding to you. The moment you acknowledge this, you step out of victimhood and into creative authority. This truth can be unsettling for some because it removes all excuses. You can no longer say they did this to me or life is just unfair without simultaneously denying your own power. But this truth is also liberating beyond words. Because if you created the old reality through unconscious assumptions, you can create a new one through conscious direction. There is no delay in consciousness. There is only what you are willing to claim now. And what you claim, what you truly feel to be real within will externalize, because the world must mirror the state you dwell in.